I hope you like roller coasters, because all aboard. This is gonna be a roller coaster. These people have more power than this guy. That's right, I said it. But not only that, young influencers have the power to shape our society into what it will look like in the future. That's a lot of power. Hey, I'm Ben. Let's talk about the internet. This is the first part of a 3-part series talking about influencers, social media, and internet, and how it impacts us as human beings. Lately, you might notice that I've dug a lot more into my niche, which is life lessons and teaching you how to have the tools to be a more conscious human being. And social media is something that takes up a lot of our time, especially if you're my age. Social media dominates our lives. For the first part, we're going to talk about the power that young influencers have. So I'm very excited for this 3-part series. And if you are too, please like the video and let's dive right in. Influencers, YouTubers, whatever you want to call them, they are all over our feeds. Like the D'Amelio. Got a 35-second video here. Come on, Julian.
How do you go about pronouncing her name? Charli D'Amelio. Charli D'Amelio.
Yes, Margaret, I'm telling you that this 16-year-old super influencer has influence over your 35-year-old son that still lives in your basement. That's okay, because I'm going to give you tips on how to be more conscious about your social media usage. If you've been paying attention to the news at all this past week, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. First, Oracle bought TikTok. What? Not only is this a move for them to become more relevant to the younger generation, but it's a move to help keep the most powerful video platform in the world legal and unbanned in the United States. So I was wrong. On Friday, Trump approved a ban to TikTok. Downloads of TikTok and WeChat in the US will have been banned by the time you're seeing this video. After that, China attacked the US for bullying over the ban of TikTok and WeChat, which subsequently led to TikTok trying to file a lawsuit against the Trump administration. Finally, today, Saturday, Trump said that he's approved Oracle's bid for the US operations at TikTok to continue in concept so long as the Chinese government approves the transaction. What a whirlwind of news. Travis Scott partnered with McDonald's and they have a burger. The Cactus Jack? What is it called? If you had told me in 2019 that Travis Scott was going to have a burger at McDonald's, I feel like the whole coronavirus thing would probably make a little bit more sense in my head. The Travis Scott burger is a measly 630 calories. Features a 1/4 pound of 100% fresh beef topped with onions, pickles, and 2 slices of melty cheese plus ketchup and mustard. But there's more. Nah, it's also got shredded lettuce and crispy bacon because that's how Cactus Jack likes it. Straight up. It's become super clear to me recently that influencers not only have control over what we watch, but what we buy, what choices we make, who else we watch, and our bank accounts. So in this video, I want to explore what impact having influencers in their current form is going to have on millennials and Gen Z in the future. How do you determine power on social media?
Oh my God, the numbers.
To quote my favorite Black Ops scene, the numbers. Followers and money. I'm going to compare them to some of our world leaders. So let's pick 5 influencers.
Choose your character.
Charli D'Amelio, David Dobrik, Emma Chamberlain, James Charles, Mr. Beast. Let's go one by one and look at their follower counts and how much money they're estimated to be worth. Let's start with the 16-year-old TikTok super sensation, Charli D'Amelio. Consulting my research, Charli D'Amelio has 126 million followers across all of her social media platforms. So I live in Calgary, right? I'm sure you knew that. The NHL team here is the Flames, and our stadium holds about 20,000 people. So let me do some quick math. 6,300 Scotiabank Saddle Domes to hold all those Charli D'Amelio's fans. So that's 87 million on TikTok, 4 million on Twitter, 28 million on Instagram, and 7 million on YouTube. And yes, we're talking about a 16-year-old here. She's worth an estimated $4 million on her own. David Dobrik, about half of Charlie. He's got a total of about 68 million followers across all of his platforms, including both his main and his second channel on YouTube. He has 27 million followers, 22 million on TikTok, 5 on Twitter, and 14 million on Insta. And it's estimated that in 2020, David is worth $7 million. What he really made is probably a lot more than 7. That's my best guess. Emma Chamberlain, 19 years old now. Total of 30 million followers on all of her platforms. 8 on TikTok, 3 on Twitter, 10 on Insta, and 9 on YouTube. It's estimated she's worth about $3 million between YouTube and, of course, Chamberlain Coffee. And now sisters, James Charles. 71 million. 23 million on TikTok, 6 million on Twitter, 21 million on Insta, and 21 million on YouTube. It's estimated that in 2020, James is worth about 12 million. 12 million. Damn, he's doing good. And then lastly, we have Mr. Beast, the king of YouTube, 72 million. 7 million on Twitter, 10 million on Insta, 55 million on YouTube between all of his channels. And I didn't see a TikTok for him. He'd probably have a lot if he did have one. And he's worth about 18. Did I read that right? 18 million estimated in 2020. So between all of our influencers, our 5 chosen characters, $44 million in worth and 346 million followers. Now let's take our 5 politicians. I live in Canada, so I took the leader of the 2 main parties here in Canada, the 2 main parties in the United States, and the Prime Minister of the UK, because why not? Between all of them, 169 million followers, and a net worth of about 3 billion. But I mean, when you take away this guy, it's kind of sad in both categories. They don't have much power on social media, I'll tell you that much. This tells me that for younger generations, especially like my age, I'm 22, for millennials and Gen Z, politicians don't stand a chance when it comes to power against some of our social media influencers. I chose 5, but I could easily come up with a list of 100 influencers if you ask me to. Influencers are winning, no matter how you look at it. Like I said, if you're in my age range, social media was probably a big part of when you were in school, like the social culture and all that. Or maybe you're still in school, and it still is a big part. When you're that age, your brain is super susceptible to things, and you're very easily influenced. I remember this, because I was that age once. I watch YouTube instead of TV. I go to Facebook instead of reading the newspaper. Those are just 2 examples. The internet and social media are where I get my information. Things like being influenced and encouraged to buy merch, coffee, or even a McDonald's burger. You're really susceptible at a young age. But how does that impact the rest of your life? When you're 65, what will the impact be? My point is that if you're my age, traditional sources of media just don't work. The people that you watch have a huge impact on your buying choices too. I mean, let's take for example the Nelk Boys. They talk a lot about Coronas and they talk about White Claws. You're telling me that when people go to the liquor store and they watch Nelk Boys videos, they're not going to look at the Coronas? I mean, it's Rona season after all. And those are just their subtle recommendations. What about their full-on endorsements of their own brand full send? This isn't all bad, and this isn't all new though. Celebrities have been around for forever. Celebrities have always influenced what we buy, what we look at, where we spend our money. Influencers are just a new generation of celebrities. The only difference is that in the information age, all that is right at our fingertips. We can easily access the things that are influencing and controlling our choices. And that power may not be the healthiest thing for some of these influencers to have. I can't imagine the toll on your health as a 16-year-old who's guiding buying choices or partnering with major US coffee chains. That's another story for another day. What about the people who are on the receiving end of this content? The reality is that we don't know what it's gonna do long term. This is so new. Social media has only really been around for 20 years-ish in the form that it is now. And with cell phones in our hands with these apps, even less time. So who knows how this will play out long term, but seeing kids as young as 5 on social media, it's crazy. There's one thing I do know though, is that these influencers are young, and as they're growing up and you're growing up, they're gonna grow with you. And that'll probably make you trust them more. We'll see how it plays out, and I'm sure some will use it better than others. Let's dig into that. So what kinds of power do these influencers have? Let's break it down. Influencers are constantly pushing products on us, whether it's Hi Smile or whatever that whitening tooth thing is, or if it's a game on your phone, or if it's Audible, Skillshare, Squarespace, all these products are being shoved in our faces constantly. Brands are flocking to social media and joining into influencer marketing faster than ever before. And it's obvious. We see products all over. And influencers, these people, have control over what we're buying and where we're spending our money. Politicians may control industries and may control where the big sums of money are going to encourage business, but where the money is spent is something they can't control. That's where influencers have power. Fans in the numbers of millions, hundreds of millions, billions of people watch these influencers. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that you can rally to believe in something, to believe in your cause, to believe in someone else's cause. It's a lot of people you can rally to change the world. With that kind of power, influencers, like I said, some will use it better than others. What influencers are going to encourage people to talk about, what influencers are going to encourage people to believe in, I'm sure will become something that's really big in the future. Kind of puts a personal responsibility on us to be more cautious of who we endorse, to be more cautious of who we're watching. Politicians make laws that guide us. Influencers and celebrities and social media stars, they are the creators of culture. Culture, whether it's online or in the real world, really they're one and the same now. They are the ones that decide the future. Culture is what changes the way we live. Culture is what changes how we move into the future. Culture is the future. Laws can't make the future. They can help guide us towards the future, but they are not the future. And now that social media is allowing culture to be built much quicker. Influencers have the power of that. Influencers control culture. Influencers control the future. What is the future gonna look like? I don't know. You don't know either. I know that in the future, influencers have a lot of power now. They're gonna have even more as ad revenue continues to roll in and things continue to change. So what is my point? We as human beings that use social media have a personal responsibility to make important and very cautious choices. Supporting people that constantly ignore rules and defy coronavirus regulations is saying something, and it's encouraging something. Bryce Hall, I'm calling him out. Like, if you watch his videos, you're encouraging him to follow in his actions, especially if it's videos about a party that he's having in his house when there's regulations on how many people you can have over at one time. Making choices about who we watch has the power to encourage the right thing. We can stop watching people who aren't making the right choices, no matter how entertaining they are, because at the end of the day, we're in control. We don't watch their videos. They don't have any money. They don't have any influence. And they certainly don't have any power. That's all. So until part 2, that's all you get. What does social media do to our brains? That's the topic for part 2. So I hope you're excited. If you are, and you're new to the channel, subscribe. You've watched this far already. I mean, what could you possibly not have loved? This video was great. Okay, I know you have your own opinions, but still, if you watched this far, you're committed. Just click the subscribe button, turn on notifications, because next week, you don't want to miss part 2. I'll tell you that right now. I appreciate you watching. Take care, and we'll see you next week. Peace.